am going to give away a free t-shirt for you comics dudes, bring you the book of the week, and reveal the books I bought this week. How y'all doing? I'm Victor, and you are watching the Comic Hero Show. Now kick that logo! This week's edition of the Comic Hero Show. I'm your host, Victor Nully, and I am the Comic Hero. This month is PCOS Awareness Month, or Polycystic Ovarian Syndrome. Now, PCOS is a condition when a woman's ovaries become enlarged and cysts start developing on the outer edges of the ovaries. And it can lead to a lot of things. Like, for starters, women have a hard time conceiving children or carrying children to term with PCOS. And also, with it, they end up developing excessive male hormones, and most commonly, they end up with facial hair that normally men would have. And then it can also lead to several other. It can also lead to diabetes and high blood pressure. Now, PCOS can be treated, but unfortunately, there's no cure for it. And this is a PCOS Comic Hero tee, and inside the speech bubble are fists, and those fists are my encouragement to women with PCOS to fight. You may have PCOS, but it doesn't have to have you. And then also, on this patch, on the sleeve is a patch that says, "I wear teal for her." That represents, that's me telling now the word "her" represents every woman with PCOS. And I know what PCOS is, and I know some of the symptoms, and I know that, but I don't know, but I can only imagine what women go through, what PCOS go through on a daily basis. But I just want to let y'all know that my unwavering support is with y'all. I love y'all. Y'all can fight this. And just remember, you may have PCOS, but it doesn't have to have you. Alright, it's time to give away a free t-shirt. Episode, I asked which rock and roll legend was rumored to have dyed his hair jet black because of his favorite superhero, Captain Marvel Jr. Now, I gave some hints on social media. The first hint, he was originally from Tupelo, Mississippi. The second hint, his favorite sandwich was a peanut butter and banana sandwich. And the third hint, he died on August 16, 1977 at the age of 42. Well, the correct answer is Elvis Presley. And 18 people have answered correctly, and because they've answered correctly, your name's been entered in a drawing for a free tee. And that drawing takes place right now. So, the winner of the free tee for this week's episode of the show is Monique Gavin from Minden, Louisiana. So, congratulations, Monique. You win yourself a free Comic Hero tee. Alright, here's the question for next week's episode, and this is a Superman question, and it's referring to a legendary athlete. Which baseball Hall of Famer used to get teammates to buy him issues of Superman because he was ashamed to do it himself? Now, here's a hint. Now, he wore number 5. Second hint, he played 13 seasons for one team. And then the third hint, he was married to 2 Hollywood actresses. Oh, here's the fourth hint. His name was mentioned in the song Center Field by John Fogerty. Everyone who answers correctly has been in a drawing for a free tee on episode 276. Now it's time for Comically Speaking, so without further ado, let's talk comics! Alright there, are 5 things we're going to talk about in this segment of Comically Speaking, and the first one is the news of Sony closing the doors to Spider-Man rejoining the Marvel Universe. Well, the Marvel Cinematic Universe, rather. This was bound to happen after what happened last month between the whole they said mumbo jumbo. It was bound to happen. Although Spider-Man Far From Home did so well in the box office, I went to see it myself. I mean, it was amazing. Sony just needs to. I mean, they're beating a dead horse here. I mean, I hate to say it, but they really are, because they have tried twice with Spider-Man in terms of everything. Of course, there was the 3 movies that starred Tobey Maguire that were directed by Sam Raimi, and then the 2 movies that starred Andrew Garfield that were directed by Mark Webb. And it took Marvel Studios to come in and say, hey, we know this didn't work, we want to help. And then they did that when Tom Holland made his debut as Spider-Man in Captain America Civil War. I mean, we fell in love with him immediately then and even now. And then he appeared in the following year, he started Spider-Man Homecoming and killed it. And then the year after that, Avengers Infinity War, and then Avengers Endgame, and then most recently, a few months ago, Spider-Man Far From Home. And then shortly after the movie's release last month, Sony had said they started saying this. Marvel Studios started saying that. Even J.C. Lee, the daughter of Stan Lee, had said that Marvel Studios had mistreated Stan and all that. I'm not going to get into that part because even though because even though Marvel may have treated Stan real well, for all we know, that could be smoke and mirrors. So I'm not going to get into that. But Sony just needs to realize that they cannot do without Marvel Studios. They tried twice and they failed twice. And then for them to have the media rights to Spider-Man, a Marvel character, and it has always been a Marvel character ever since Stan Lee and Steve Ditko created him in 1962. It's wrong. I mean, it's very wrong, and they just need to either do the joint custody thing or just give them up to Marvel Studios. Now, recently, Venom, Marvel acquired the rights to Venom. How can you? Okay, first off, how can you let Marvel Studios have the rights to Venom and not the rights to Spider-Man? That doesn't make any sense. Either share or let go. That's all I'm saying. All right, now the second thing. It's been rumored that Liam Neeson is being eyed to play the role of Galactus in Phase 4 of Marvel Studios. Liam Neeson, Galactus. I guess it could work. I mean, we've seen what he's done in several movies, like the A-Team when he played Colonel Hannibal Smith, and then in the 3 Taken movies. And then when he played Qui-Gon in Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Well, I guess so. Alright, now the third thing. And I kind of raised an eyebrow when I saw this, but the Batman director, Matt Reeves, is currently eyeing Mahershala Ali to play the role of Commissioner Gordon. Woo! I can see it. I can somewhat see it. Although, I think I don't know. I'm not going to. I'm not going to say it's a bad idea. I can somewhat see Ali playing Commissioner Gordon, kinda. All right, and the fourth thing. Marvel is planning on bringing back the Defenders in upcoming movies. Now, I don't know if Mike Colter is going is interested in playing the role of Luke Cage, although he killed it especially in season 1 of Marvel's Luke Cage, and then in the episodes of Marvel's Jessica Jones that he played in. Now, it kind of snowballed in season 2 of Luke Cage, but and then kind of into Defenders. But he's currently starring on a show on CBS called Evil, where he plays a minister. Now, as far as Charlie Cox and Kristen Ritter, I would love to see those two play Daredevil and Jessica Jones respectively. I would love to see that. I would love to see Mike Colter play Luke Cage too, but he's already had a lot of stuff on it. But I don't know if he's going to be able to do it because of scheduling conflicts with the TV show Evil. But stay tuned is all I have to say. And then the last thing, Marvel has said that they will use Thanos' snap to introduce when he had the Infinity Gauntlet to introduce the X-Men into the MCU. That doesn't seem okay with me. And here's why. In the comics, the X-Men were always part of the Marvel Universe even before the Infinity Gauntlet miniseries. So it doesn't really make a lot of sense to this move doesn't really make a lot of sense. The X-Men have been around since 1963. The Infinity Gauntlet premiered in 1993. Why would Marvel Studios do that? I don't know. But hey, even though the comics are the true story, the comics tell the true story. I always say that. But Marvel Studios using that, I guess it could work because, I guess it could work because because in Marvel Studios in the 11 years that it's been around, it has no mutant, with the exception of Quicksilver and the Scarlet Witch were not mentioned. But I guess it could work. Alright, that's it for Comically Speaking. Now it's time for the Comic Hero Book of the Week. Let's do this. Alright, my book of the week is Superman Up in the Sky. Now, this is part of a limited series for DC, a line of them. And other books are Batman Year One, Wonder Woman Come Back to Me, and Titans Burning Rage. Now, this book is written by Tom King, who is also the writer on Batman, and with art by Andy Kubert and Sandra Hope. Now, this book asks the question, and it also answers it: how far will Superman go to save one life? It gets started with him questioning himself in terms of saving everyone. He understands, now Superman understands that even with all these powers, he can't save everyone. But then he finds out that an alien race kidnaps this girl and takes her off planet. And then Superman finds out, goes off and he tries to rescue her, but he has to go through a few loops and holes to do it. Excuse me. And he even ends up in a boxing match with this alien mercenary by the name of Mido. And the stipulation was, if Superman wins, Mido gives him info on where the girl might be. If he loses, he has to go back to Earth. Well, this fight happens in number 2, which I just read, and Mido beats Superman to a pulp, but Superman does not. No matter how many times he gets knocked down, he gets up, and this kind of discourages Mido after about 10 rounds. And he says, okay, fine, I'm just going to take a knee. Ref, I can't beat him because every time I do, he gets back up. Ref, just make the count. Just count me out. And he does that. But seeing Superman beaten like, I haven't seen him beaten like that since he got killed by Doomsday back in '92, which I still haven't recovered from, by the way. But he ends up. But Mido gives him some info on where the girl might be, and then he ends up finding this family of aliens, and he finds he talks to the father, tries to get some info from him, and they both share things with each other, and then as soon as they do kind of a mind meld or whatever, and as soon as he's done, the alien or the alien that Superman befriends suddenly dies, and then at the end of number 2, he ends up going to his family and letting him know that he dies, and then he starts being there for them. And that's where, and that was the last issue I read. Number 3 is actually in one of the comics I bought this week. I really love this because Tom King he's been around since the whole DC Convergence thing back in 2015, which kind of gave us a glimmer of hope in terms of the DC Universe returning, and we were right, it sure did. Or rather, it was reborn. It's a combination of the New 52 universe and then the original DC Universe, and because there were a few things about the New 52 universe that actually worked, but we all love the original DC Universe. I mean, in the many years that it's been around, we missed it during the New 52. But Tom King, he did the Convergence miniseries, and that's when we first heard of him. And then he became the writer of Batman, and even now he's done an amazing job on that book. And this book is 3 issues old. Superman Up in the Sky is 3 issues old, but it's already becoming a classic. And I'm really looking forward to reading more of it. Alright, that's it for the book of the week. Now let's get to the comics I bought this week.
Comic books I bought this week.
Alright, first up is Silver Surfer Black number 1. Silver Surfer Black number 2. Silver Surfer Black number 3. Batman the Outsiders number 3. Fantastic Four number 14. Future Foundation number 2. The Green Lantern number 11. House of 10 number 4. The Immortal Hulk, number 23. Justice League, number 31. Supergirl, number 33. Look, I was just talking about in the last segment. Superman Up in the Sky, number 3. Guardians of the Galaxy, number 8. And finally, Absolute Carnage, number 2. Alright, that's 14, which brings the total number of comics that I bought since December of 1997 to 9,578. Alright, well, I hope you enjoyed this week's episode. Here's a question again for our free tee for next week's episode. Which baseball Hall of Famer used to get teammates to buy issues of Superman for him because he was ashamed to do it himself? Now, here are a few hints. 1, he played for the same team in his 13-year baseball career. 2, his number 5 is retired for this team. 3, he was once married to 2 Hollywood actresses. And 4, his name is mentioned in the song Center Field by John Fogerty. Everyone who answers correctly been entered in the drawing for a free tee on next week's episode, and congratulations to Monique Gavin from Minden, Louisiana, who won a free tee on this episode. Alright, now, I just want to say to all the women who are who have PCOS, you may have it, but it doesn't have you. My support is with you. You can fight this, and then one day there will be a cure for it, and you won't have to live with this anymore, and you'll be able to recover from it and continue to live your lives here on this side. I know that as I said at the beginning, there's not there's treatment for it, but there's not a cure for it. Well, for now, but I believe it's coming. And that, that's the thing about me. I love helping people, and I'm not ashamed of it, not one bit. And on next week's episode, I'm going to raise awareness of prostate cancer. Now, prostate cancer. Now there are a lot of men that have prostate cancer. Excuse me. There are men who have beaten prostate cancer, and there are also men who have lost their lives to prostate cancer. Well, this episode is for you. Alright, I'm Victor Nunley on the Comic Hero. I'll see you next week for episode 276. So until then, be safe, be blessed, be a hero!